This is so awesome that I noticed this because, okay, you guys saw the video I posted not too long ago called Paris Burns Prophecy Confirmed. That's the video I did on Notre Dame. So, look down here below it. This is a video I did called Falling Away and Antichrist Revealed. This was over a year ago, guys. And this video I did about the falling in the way of the Antichrist, it was about exactly that, the falling away of the church and the Antichrist being revealed. So if you notice for the thumbnail I picked for that video of what I chose, and this was so prophetic because it was over a year ago. And if you notice, you can go back and view it on my channel for like a clearer picture, but basically this is a church house in this picture down here. This is a church, and then the steeple on top of it is on fire. Now notice the whole church is not burning, only the top and the steeple, which is like the leadership, right? Who's over it and above the church. And notice Notre Dame, the whole building didn't burn down. It was really mainly the top, the crown, the steeple that got burnt down. And this is an exact match for what happened in Notre Dame. And I already in this video, as you know, guys, I said what that prophetically implied, that the Lord was tearing down, destroying the old systems, the old church, that has not been useful, that has not been sent by him, that has not been doing his works, and that has not been properly leading and guiding the people. That he's tearing that down so he can build up his true church. It's made up of his true leadership. And that doesn't just go for the Catholic Church. Guys, that spreads from the top to the bottom. You can be as high up cardinal in the Vatican, and you can be all the way down to a so-called minister on YouTube or prophet on YouTube or the lowliest person. It's going to cover everything. We always get these cliche mindsets. Oh, it's the Vatican. The Vatican's evil. Yeah, they are evil. But guys, we got evil going on all the way down into the roots of the church. There's a lot of people who aren't walking in proper leadership. There's a lot of people that aren't bearing fruit. There's a lot of that stuff going on. So I also did want to mention that we only usually look to these big public systems like the Vatican, the government. They're under judgment. They've misled the people. They did this, they did that. Yes, they did. But that also applies to all of us. You don't have to be big and famous in a system to be walking in the same ways as them and under the same judgment as them. So the judgment really is beginning in the house of God, the refining fire, a reformation. So continuing, I just thought that was really amazing when I was scrolling through my videos and I saw that. I was like, oh my God, oh my God. That is literally what happened a year later. The steeple of the church burned, and it all connected to a falling away of the church and the false church being torn down. The next update I have for you guys was, if you watch my Passover Season of Blessings 2019 video, which we still have a few days left, and before Passover wraps up, I believe we have like 4 days left or something like that. So if you haven't watched this video yet, you definitely want to watch it so you can hear what message the Lord had. So like I said, once again, you can be in the know of heaven and what time frame heaven is on right now and what heaven's focused on. But anyways, those of you who did watch it, I'm I'm going to just play it so you can. Finishing up, this is part 2. Got cut off, ran out of room. So if you remember, the day I posted this video about the Passover season of blessings, it was exactly 10 days left until Passover ends, or until Passover. Exactly 10 days. I even had this little calendar where I filmed just so people would know the date, how many more days people had, and so on. And as you can see, it was 10 days left. That's when I posted the video. It was 10 days left, or 10 days away. And so for some reason, that number 10 days just kept, sticking in my head. 10 days, 10 days, 10 days. And I'm like, that sounds so familiar. Is that in scripture? Something about the 10 days of awe. I knew that and I didn't arrange when to post that video. That's just when I happened to end up filming and posting. But it just kept nagging at me. 10 days. It sounds so familiar. And I was like, is it the 10 days of awe? I looked it up. No, that wasn't it. But I knew it was some type of biblical time frame that linked to 10 days. And if you remember in that video, I was laying out the principle what the Lord is calling for right now in this season was seeking the kingdom first, and the agendas of the kingdom of heaven first, and that if we do that, that everything else that we need, are in need of, and desire will be added on to us in that order. And so then I kept looking up to 10 days, 10 days, and lo and behold, this is what I found. I found this out of, just ignore that NIV, guys. Don't even waste your time. That's not important right now. The message is still going to get across. So Jeremiah 42, I found this about 10 days. Now remember, the subject matter of the message was seeking the kingdom first, seeking the Lord, reconnecting your personal relationship with Him. I said now, this week or so, or week or two of before Passover, leading up through Passover, through Resurrection Sunday, and ending when Passover closes out, is a special time frame and window of heaven that will be open for these sorts of things regarding seeking the Lord, seeking what your purpose is for the kingdom, etc. And it included all sorts of things. If you needed clarity, direction, if you're confused, whatever the case may be, it could have been burdens of yours, whatever, that this was a very good time frame to seek Him. And lo and behold, this is what I found regarding that message in 10 days. So this is Jeremiah 42, verses, I'll just start reading in 42, starting at verse 1 or 2. It says, all the people from the least to the greatest approached Jeremiah the prophet and said unto him, please hear our petition and pray to the Lord your God for this entire remnant. For as you now see, though we were once many, only a few of us are left. Pray that the Lord your God will tell us where we should go and what we should do. And then Jeremiah was just answering them, I will certainly pray to the Lord as you have requested. I will tell you everything that the Lord says, and I will keep nothing back from you. Then they said to Jeremiah, may the Lord be a true and faithful witness against us if we do not act in accordance with everything the Lord your God sends you to tell us, whether it be favorable or unfavorable. We will obey the Lord to whom we are sending you, so that it will go well with us, for we will obey the Lord our God. 10 days later, the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah. So he called together Jonathan, son of, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, and all the armed forces. were with him, and all the people from the least to the greatest. And he said to them, "This is what the Lord your God of Israel, to whom you sent me to present your petition, says." So, this is basically all of the people came to Jeremiah. They needed answers and direction, clarity, and instruction. And so, since they knew Jeremiah was a prophet, they went to him and said, "Hey, can you go seek the Lord for us and see what he has to say? We need to know what to do, where to go." It's like we need answers. Okay. And they sent Jeremiah to go ask God for their instructions. And then Jeremiah agreed, so he went to go seek the Lord. And then it says, 10 days later, the word of the Lord came to him. So, reflecting back on the message that I delivered regarding seeking the Lord for clarity, instruction, whatever the case may be, just seeking Him, kingdom purpose, whatever the case may be, this time frame and time window is a very important time frame to seek the Lord. It could be, anything, burden, something you're struggling with, something you're in need of, whatever the case may be. But first finding out, seeking the kingdom first, and then all of that will be added unto you. So that's your key of how you're going to get into that door of receiving the things you need. If you're doing it in this order and you're walking and living in this order. But anyway, as you can see, this video was released when it was only a 10-day countdown until Passover was over, or until Passover. And it's a prophetic 10-day mention in Jeremiah 42, where it took 10 days and then the Lord showed up with the answers to give to the prophet and to the people as far as their answer, their direction, and what they should do. So I just thought that that was a really amazing confirmation. Really, really amazing. Blown away. And I'm not gonna I'm gonna admit, I even in this period of these days of the Passover season, resurrection season, not everything played out perfect. It's not about that, guys. Don't pressure yourself for things to go perfect, because things will never go perfect. We're in a material, fleshly world. Things didn't go as far as everything I wanted to do and had planned. But that's okay. It's about where your heart is. So, like I said, just try your best and do what you can. That's really what the Lord is after. Um, Not necessarily if you did everything perfectly, if you fasted each and every day, if you were on your knees praying for 12 hours, even though all that stuff is lovely. That would be awesome. If you can do it, please do. Um, but like I said, even with me, I'm not going to say I'm up on some high holy horse and everything played out perfectly. Sometimes it's just getting by, and I have to duck and dodge and push and carve out time and make sure I set aside time for the Lord and get things in here and there where I can. Um, and so don't be discouraged by that. There's still a few days left within this Passover resurrection season window. There's still time to do something out of the sincerity and eagerness of your heart to seek the Lord, or to serve, or to sow into His kingdom, as I said. Um, and the abundance of what in the future will begin to flow out of that is going to be linked to harvesting. And you will reap what you have sowed in. And so, um, yeah, I just thought that that was really amazing. And like I said, it's not about observing the holiday Passover in the ritualistic sense, even though it's nothing wrong with that. That's also good. But it's about spiritually being in tune with what this time frame means in the spirit: resurrection, new life, um, danger, death, and lack passing over us. And speaking of resurrection, I have yet another update. This is basically updates on several prophecies I've given everyone just really within like the last, I want to say, week. And already I have so many confirmations and updates just that quickly. Um, and so, speaking of resurrection, guys, you remember this video I posted not too long ago called Prophecy Updates and Miraculous Turnaround? Well, let's see if we can get that pulled up. Of everything, I'm not looking. So, guys, remember I was sharing with you how I had on this necklace of a heartbeat, the rhythm of the heartbeat, and I didn't even realize that I was wearing it in this picture. And it just so happens that I was sharing a call to prayer about the heartbeat bill being passed against abortion. And then it coincided prophetically with me wearing this heartbeat necklace, which I didn't even know I was wearing. So there's another layer to that. Let me see. So we have the heartbeat necklace regarding the heartbeat bill that was passed and a call to prayer to kind of reinforce that, to make sure they don't overturn it regarding abortions. And then I just happened one day when I was on YouTube to see this same heartbeat rhythm pattern, because another ministry had posted like a video of like a flyer, and it was like a church event, and it had this pattern on it, and then written right inside the heartbeat pattern it said revival. So they were having a revival event, and they chose to put this pattern inside of the picture for the graphics. And that's when it all clicked together. It may sound so simple, but sometimes that's how we are. And it really takes the Holy Spirit to quicken us. It was right there in front of my face the whole time. Then it just all clicked together for me. The heartbeat bills and the anti-abortion bills that are being passed in our nation, which are unprecedented and historic. We've never seen a turnaround in this kind of way, a momentum in this kind of way, reversing towards fighting and reversing that evil practice of abortion. That those bills, the headway that we're making, the victories that we're making towards that, those are signs. Okay, those are omens and signs that prophetically are manifesting and that are announcing and saying that revival is coming to this nation. So those anti-abortion bills and heartbeat bills are a sign that revival is coming to this nation. It's a confirmation and a sign to the people, a spiritual sign and symbolism to the people that revival is coming to this nation. And I didn't put all the pieces together until it clicked that the heartbeat signal has to do with revival, because anti-abortion, letting babies live and be born, babies are a symbol of new life, right? And so that's how the two are connected. It's all connected. The Lord is unfolding a story for us when we put it all together, and He's painting a picture for us, a heavenly picture that He wants His people to understand and grasp and take a hold of and be a part of. And so those laws, anti-abortion laws that made it through and passed, that is a sign that the Lord is not done with this nation yet, and that He has new life and revival, not just the physical lives of the physical babies, but spiritually reviving, bringing back to life the dead, resurrecting, revival. When you revive someone, this is someone that is in bad condition, bad shape, right? Either their heart is not beating or they're not breathing and they're close to a serious injury or death. And what you do with CPR is you breathe life into them to revive them and bring them back. And that's what the Lord has set for this nation to breathe new life and revive this nation through a spiritual revival, and that those bills were a sign and a confirmation of it. So once again, just completely amazing. What the Lord is showing right now is just the point. If you're not careful, if you're not in the know, if you're not flowing with the Spirit, if you're not flowing with heaven, if you're not on heaven's time clock, all of these things will happen and be playing out right in front of you, and you probably may not notice them or even know what's going on or that the Lord is even speaking and moving. But He is. You just have to be in tune to it. And so, this is just reminding me. So speaking of new life, this new life is not just for a spiritual revival to bring back the backslidden or reform the church or bring in unbelievers, which that is a huge part of it. This new life and revival is also for a myriad of things, okay? This is where we tie in on a personal level. This is why I'm trying to draw people's attention to these things, because the Lord is willing to move on your behalf and operate for you on a personal level as well. But if you're not in step in alignment, you could miss out on Him being able to do that for you. So, revival and bringing new life, like I said, it's not just about spiritually and for the kingdom purpose. It's bringing new life to dead situations and dead things, even on a personal level. Things in your personal life, people around you in your personal life. All of your needs, all of your burdens, all of your wants. Things according to His will. It could be your health, it could be your finances, it could be your relationships, your marriage, your children, anything. As long as it's not outside of the will of God, the Lord is trying to move and wants to move to bring new life to all dead things, not just the church and revival in that sense. And so, once again, it's kind of like I'm repeating myself, but that's only because He's repeating Himself. So whenever I see that happening with the Lord repeating something, it's like He's trying to make sure He gets our attention and involving it. So once again, this all traces back to me saying that this Passover season window time frame is a very good time frame to seek the Lord on all matters, including your personal situations and what you're going through, as well as the kingdom's purpose, direction, understanding, whatever would have you, because the Lord has a specific open window right now to where He wants to greatly bless us if we seek Him. So, the last update I'm going to share with you was earlier today I posted a vision regarding Mount Rushmore, and you can go watch it if you haven't done so, if you desire to. But basically, it was like I wasn't sure if I understood it correctly, but a model or version of Mount Rushmore was about to be put into a deep fryer, or at risk of being put into a deep fryer. And what I thought that Mount Rushmore signified was America's foundation or something to do with the Constitution, but I wasn't sure. And so I ended up falling back asleep after I posted that, and I had another vision confirming and interpreting for me what he meant by that. And I saw a white wall inside of a house, but the entire bottom part the entire bottom part of the house was missing. It had been ripped out or torn out. And I looked across the room and it was the Lord, and he had his coat was sitting on a chair. But also, like I said, inside the room, this is not a good picture. This is just something I reminded myself to touch on the subject. But this whole bottom area of a wall was missing and ripped out. So the entire foundation of the wall was gone and missing. So that takes us back to my Mount Rushmore vision. So he was confirming for us that yes, he was speaking towards the foundation of our country was in jeopardy by about to be put into the deep fryer. And at the time I thought he was just speaking to like the Constitution and our laws. But the fact that I had already asked for prayer regarding that. So the fact that he kept speaking on it led me to understand that he wasn't just calling us to prayer regarding the Constitution and laws. So the foundation of our country is at risk in our laws and Constitution, and we should be praying and interceding for that and for our country. But he is calling us to pray for foundations in general over in all things. The reason why we're in the shape that we're in every aspect of life is because the foundation has been ripped out and damaged and destroyed in all things, not just laws and government and constitution, but in family, children, morals and values, finances, wisdom and understanding, the church, marriages, in your life, in your walk, okay? All of these things are damaged, you know, they're not in their proper order. They're just, everything is in disarray from the bottom to the top. And so, foundations in all things is really what was being highlighted. And that's what we're being called to intercede, especially in this time frame regarding. And so this is a very, very important, I will make a note of it below, to focus on with your intercession on foundations regarding all these things. And his coat was in the room with the damaged wall. So coats are coverings and also can serve for protection. So he's present and he's willing to do something about the problem, but he's also asking for our intercession and our participation. Going back to what I mentioned before earlier, so much can be done, and that he wants to do, but do we even find the desire, for it to change? Is that even where our hearts are? And don't get me wrong, whatever's going to happen is going to happen regardless. He doesn't need us in order to change these things. The movement is going to come and be accomplished regardless. We're just being given an opportunity to hop on board and benefit from it. So it's going to get done regardless, with or without you. It's just, are you going to be a part of it and reap some of the benefits or not? And when it comes to marriages, husbands was a very big highlighted point. Husbands, because inside of families and marriages, the husband as the secondary foundation after the Lord, that order has been so, this has just been put in such chaos for several reasons. But that needs to be restored and put in order, especially regarding this. So intercede and pray regarding that. So we should be praying regarding these things, not just in our own personal lives, but in the entire country. That the Lord would move in these areas with restoring the foundation in these things, putting them back in order. Okay? And we know that Christ is the cornerstone. So when he is returned as the cornerstone and the foundations in all these areas can have some repair. And then they can begin to move and operate correctly. And then once they're operating correctly, we get to in turn reap those benefits. So, in closing, the enemy will likely try to push back at you, especially during this season. If you participate in intercession and prayer, warfare for the kingdom purpose and for your own personal life, I just want to go back and highlight in your life and your personal walk with the Lord. What I was speaking on earlier when I was frustrated, many people in their walk, their foundation, there's so much damage in their foundations. The foundation in their walk. The Lord has been removed. Excuse me. The Lord has been removed as the true foundation of their walk. And so that's why their walk is so off track right now. And Christ has been replaced with so many different things and people. But continuing, I just felt like I needed to clarify that. So this is also a really big area we need to pray for the foundations to be repaired in our personal life and our walk with the Lord amongst the church, not for just us, but for the whole country. So continuing, once you involve yourself in intercede and go to battle and pray towards these things, the enemy can and will likely try to push back at you. Okay, just know that beforehand. But you push right back, especially if whatever you do is closely associated with a huge breakthrough that's about to happen, or the Lord has a response to give or give you, and it's associated with a breakthrough, and these areas are about to change, you will likely receive some sort of pushback. So just know that, and guess what? You respond with pushing them right back. Don't let it discourage you or dissuade you or, make you not want to pray again regarding it. You just push right back and you keep on pushing in and pushing in and pushing in. Don't let them bully you away from it. Tomorrow, I don't know if it will be tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, I'm going to film some tips, just some personal tips of how I go about doing it to share with you in case you want to know how I perform intercessory warfare and prayers to do with intercession, if you want to become an intercessor, or just if you want to know what all is included in my regiment of how I perform intercessory warfare. I will be sharing that outline for you guys in case you're interested. Also, the Lord has reminded me to start including my contact info, my personal email, of how I can be contacted aside from just the comment section on YouTube, a personal way of contacting me. So that will now be, Lord's willing, if I don't forget, at the bottom of my videos now in every video. And even if I forget to put it in there, if you go back to like the video before it or in all of my new videos for this new season, put it this way, they are now in the description box, my email information. So I'm going to close out with these verses. So I'm going to start with this one. Oops. Just 1 second, guys. 1 second, guys. 1 second. 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 And this is just some of the issues that I felt that I see, and I'm observing. So I'm just going to share this scripture to lay on everybody's heart, um, just to get us to reflect and ask ourselves some questions, about what actions are we actually accomplishing? What is it that we do with our time and our energy? And